Wonders of Japan. What if I told you there's a place where ancient monks chant beneath thousand-year-old cedar trees? Just a train ride away from a robot cafe that serves you dinner with mechanical precision? Where vending machines sell everything from hot ramen to full business shirts. And yet, every cherry blossom petal falling in spring still feels like poetry? This is Japan, and right now the world can't stop talking about it. From Tokyo's viral street fashion revival lighting up Instagram reels, to Osaka gearing up for Expo 2025, Japan is back in the spotlight, louder, bolder, and more fascinating than ever. And let's not forget the record-breaking new Shinkansen, so fast it makes European trains look like local trams. But beyond the hashtags and headlines, what is it about Japan that pulls travelers in again and again? Maybe it's the way tradition and innovation collide so effortlessly. Or how even the busiest cities make space for quiet moments. In Japan, you can sip matcha in a 500-year-old tea house, and minutes later, step into a 7-Eleven that feels more efficient than some airports. For many in the USA and UK, Japan has become the ultimate travel dream, not just because it's different, but because it's deeply intriguing. What's it really like to live here? To eat like a local, to experience those unspoken rules, the calm chaos, the silent beauty? Well, you're about to find out. So whether you're planning your first trip, dreaming of cherry blossoms, or just love discovering how the world works, this journey through Japan is like a free ticket. All it takes is a like, a subscribe, and a comment below telling us what part of Japan you can't wait to explore. That small click helps us keep bringing you more wonders of the world, no luggage required. Ready to explore the land of endless contrasts? Let's begin. Stretching like a graceful arc along the Pacific, Japan is not one island but nearly 7,000. Yet just 4 of them, Honshu, Hokkaido, Kyushu, and Shikoku, make up almost the entire heartbeat of the nation. To the north lies Hokkaido, a snow-covered frontier where wild bears roam and hot springs steam against icy backdrops. The southern tip, Okinawa's tropical beaches whisper of another world, palm-lined coasts, coral reefs, and a lifestyle that feels more island escape than East Asian metropolis. Japan's geography is dramatic, and it's no coincidence. Nestled along the Pacific Ring of Fire, this nation lives atop a bed of restless energy. Volcanoes, earthquakes, and tsunamis are not rare surprises here. They're expected guests. Mount Fuji, iconic and symmetrical, is not just a postcard image, it's a dormant volcano, quietly reminding everyone of nature's potential power. Yet out of this raw, unstable land, Japan built a society of stunning resilience. Entire cities are engineered to sway, not crumble. Disaster drills are as routine as school assemblies. And in the aftermath of every tremor, life carries on with a calm the world finds remarkable. But Japan's geography isn't just a backdrop, it's a strategic player on the global stage. Located at the crossroads of East Asia, Japan sits in a unique position, a close neighbor to China, Russia, and both Koreas, while remaining deeply aligned with Western allies like the United States and the UK. It's a bridge between worlds, Eastern roots with Western partnerships. Its maritime reach also plays a powerful role. With limited natural resources, Japan's economy depends on seaborne imports and exports, making its ports among the busiest on Earth. And while its land scarce, it's ocean-rich, claiming one of the world's largest exclusive economic zones. But despite being resource-poor on land, Japan turned this challenge into innovation, mastering the art of maximizing the minimum. Think compact apartments, vertical farming, and a transportation system so precise, it's become an international benchmark. In a way, Japan's geography is a paradox, isolated yet deeply connected. Small in landmass, yet massive in influence. And always in motion. As we move deeper into this journey, you'll see how this dynamic setting shaped Japan's history, identity, and daily life in ways that are nothing short of extraordinary. To understand Japan today, the order, the elegance, the obsession with perfection, you have to journey into its past. Because Japan's history isn't just ancient scrolls and temple stones. It's the DNA of its modern soul. Let's rewind over 1,000 years. This was a land once ruled not by presidents or parliaments, but by samurais and shoguns. Loyalty, honor, and discipline weren't just values, they were survival. The samurai class upheld strict codes of conduct, while shogunates, military governments, held the true power behind emperors who were worshipped as divine but rarely ruled. Then came the Edo period, over 250 years of peace, isolation, and internal development. While Europe clashed in revolutions and wars, Japan closed its borders. No one in, no one out. And during that isolation, something remarkable happened. Japan perfected itself. Arts like ukiyo-e prints and kabuki theater flourished. Tea ceremony became ritual. Towns grew orderly, elegant, efficient. But nothing stays frozen forever. In 1853, American warships appeared on Japan's shores, demanding trade. This encounter shattered centuries of isolation and triggered what would become the Meiji Restoration, one of the most dramatic national transformations in human history. In mere decades, Japan leapt from feudal society to industrial powerhouse. Railways, factories, a modern army, all modeled on Western systems, yet infused with Japanese precision. Country didn't just adopt the modern world, it reshaped it in its image. But history isn't without scars. During World War II, Japan's expansionist ambitions turned tragic. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945 left deep, unforgettable wounds, not only in the cities reduced to ash, but in the global conscience. And yet, out of that devastation, Japan rose not with revenge, but with resolve. What followed was the so-called Japanese economic miracle. Within decades, the nation became a tech titan, exporting cars, electronics, and culture to the world. Toyota, Sony, Panasonic, household names born from ashes. By the 1980s, Japan wasn't just rebuilt. It was reimagined, blending ancient values with cutting-edge vision. And through it all, Japan retained something rare, a reverence for its past even as it raced into the future. Temples stand next to skyscrapers. Kimono shops sit across from manga cafes. And through every reinvention, Japan never lost its essence, it just adapted its expression. So when you walk through modern Tokyo or ride a Shinkansen past rice fields and neon lights, remember you're not just seeing Japan as it is. You're witnessing every version it's ever been. And as we journey ahead, you'll see how that history isn't just in museums. It's alive in the culture, the people, and even the tiniest details of daily life. Feel like Japan? It's not just the temples or the sushi. It's something quieter, more subtle. You feel it in the bow of a stranger. The silence between words, the soft hum of a train that arrives always on time. The heart of it all is a deeply rooted value, the Japanese concept of harmony. Harmony in relationships, in nature, in society. It's why people lower their voices in public, why shoes come off at the door, why even the smallest action is done with deliberate care. Respect is not optional here, it's ingrained. From kindergartners cleaning their classrooms to chefs spending decades perfecting one dish, Japan runs on an unspoken social contract. Do your best without disturbing the balance. That desire for balance extends into aesthetics. Enter minimalism, not just a design trend, but a lifestyle. You'll notice uncluttered homes, clean streets, and quiet corners for reflection. Faces breathe in Japan, they're curated for serenity. Even the ritual of making tea, a centuries-old practice, is a kind of choreography, where every gesture is performed with grace and purpose. And the clothing, still deeply tied to tradition. During festivals or special occasions, many Japanese people wear kimono or yukata, intricate garments with layers of meaning and symbolism. Yet the same streets also pulse with hypermodern style, from avant-garde fashion in Harajuku to anime-themed cafes in Akihabara. This brings us to pop culture, Japan's most explosive cultural export. From anime that redefined global storytelling to J-pop idols with millions of devoted fans, Japanese pop culture is more than entertainment, it's identity. Anime conventions draw fans from London to Los Angeles. Characters like Pikachu and Hello Kitty aren't just famous, they're icons of modern mythology. And in between tradition and tech lies something uniquely Japanese, the ability to embrace opposites without conflict. Where else can you meditate with monks in a Zen temple? Then spend your afternoon at a high-speed robot cafe or dressing up in cosplay for a themed photo shoot. Even daily life reflects this beautiful duality. The Shinkansen, or bullet train, glides across the country like a steel arrow, punctual to the second, yet its stations are filled with bento boxes made with the love of a home-cooked meal. Japan's culture is a layered story, one that respects the past without being chained to it, and welcomes the future without forgetting where it came from. And as a traveler, you don't just witness it. You feel it in the silence, the smiles, the seasons, and in the way Japan invites you to slow down, observe, and appreciate every detail. Because here, even the everyday is treated with the reverence of art. Walk through any Japanese neighborhood, and you might pass a small wooden shrine tucked between buildings, or hear a temple bell echoing through the morning mist. Religion in Japan isn't always loud, but it's everywhere. Unlike many parts of the world where religion is formal and organized, in Japan, it's deeply woven into the rhythm of daily life. And at the heart of that rhythm are two traditions, Shintoism and Buddhism, coexisting not in conflict but in quiet collaboration. Shinto, Japan's indigenous belief system, is rooted in nature worship. Mountains, rivers, trees, even rocks are considered sacred, inhabited by divine spirits called kami. That's why you'll see torii gates, bright red wooden arches, marking the entrance to a sacred space. They're not just beautiful landmarks. They're a signal. You're stepping into a place where the spiritual and physical worlds meet. And then there's Buddhism, introduced from China and Korea over 1,000 years ago. While Shinto focuses on life and nature, Buddhism deals with death, rebirth, and enlightenment. Most Japanese funerals follow Buddhist rituals, while Shinto traditions celebrate births and seasonal festivals. You might wonder, how do people follow both? The answer is beautifully Japanese, pragmatic spirituality. Many people don't claim to be devout, yet they'll visit a shrine on New Year's, pray at a temple before exams, and wear a lucky charm tied to their backpack. It's not about strict dogma, it's about connection, gratitude, and respect. Religious architecture in Japan is both stunning and symbolic. From the golden Kinkakuji Temple in Kyoto to the thousands of vermilion gates at Fushimi Inari Shrine, these sites are more than tourist stops, they're living pieces of heritage. Visit during a local matsuri and you'll see that spirituality in full celebration, with drums, lanterns, food stalls, and even sacred dances performed by neighborhood elders. And all of this, the prayers, the rituals, the stories, flows through one of the most fascinating parts of Japan, its language. Japanese isn't just a means of communication. It's a mirror of the culture with layered levels of politeness, poetic expressions, and untranslatable concepts like wabi-sabi. The language reflects Japan's soul. Even within Japan, the language shifts from the gentle Kyoto dialect to the brisk pace of Tokyo slang to the lilting, almost musical tones of Okinawa. Dialects here are more than accents, they're identities. They hint at geography, history, and even social standing. For travelers, learning just a few phrases, arigato, sumimasen, or itadakimasu before a meal opens doors. You don't have to be fluent to connect, just genuine. Because in Japan, it's not about the perfect word. It's about the respect behind it. And that respect for gods, nature, language, and each other is what makes this country feel so deeply human. When you picture Japan, what comes to mind? A perfect snow-capped cone rising into the clouds? Neon-lit cityscapes buzzing with life? Silent gates standing like sentinels in the forest? Those aren't just images, they're invitations. Because Japan is a country where the landmarks aren't just famous, they're emotional experiences. Let's begin with the most iconic of them all, Mount Fuji. Standing at 12,389 feet, Fujisan isn't just Japan's tallest mountain, it's a sacred symbol of beauty, endurance, and national pride. Visible from Tokyo on a clear day, it's been painted, photographed, climbed, and revered for centuries. Hikers wake before dawn to witness the Goreiko, the sunrise from its summit, a spiritual moment that many call life-changing. But if Mount Fuji is Japan's soul, then Tokyo Skytree is its skyline crown. Towering over the capital at a staggering 634 meters, it's one of the tallest structures on Earth. Inside, you'll find panoramic observation decks, fine dining above the clouds, and a view that stretches all the way to, yes, Mount Fuji on the horizon. Now let's talk tradition. In Kyoto, once Japan's imperial capital, you'll find Kinkakuji, the Golden Pavilion, shimmering in a peaceful pond, surrounded by manicured gardens that whisper centuries of Zen philosophy. Not far away is Fushimi Inari Shrine, famous for its thousands of vermilion torii gates that wind up the mountainside. Walking through them feels like stepping into a parallel world, quiet, eternal, and endlessly photogenic. A short ride away is Nara, where sacred history meets adorable charm. Here, within the grounds of ancient temples, deer roam freely, seen not as animals but as messengers of the gods. Bow to one and it might just bow back. In Osaka, the energy shifts. Osaka Castle, with its emerald roof and golden details, stands as a symbol of Japan's feudal might, but the city itself is playful, loud, and endlessly fun. It's known as Japan's kitchen, but also home to eccentric attractions like robot restaurants where futuristic dancers, lasers, and oversized animatronic creatures collide in the most surreal dinner show imaginable. And for the lovers of fantasy, welcome to the Ghibli Museum in Mitaka. Step into the world of Totoro, Spirited Away, and Howl's Moving Castle, where animation becomes architecture and imagination has no walls. It's not just a museum, it's a portal into the heart of Japanese storytelling. Then there's Akihabara, the electric town of Tokyo. This isn't just a shopping district, it's the epicenter of anime, gaming, and otaku culture. Multi-story arcades, manga cafes, themed restaurants. It's a place where fantasy and reality merge under neon lights. Every landmark in Japan tells a story, not just of what it is, but of what Japan is becoming. A country in motion, a place of paradox, a living museum where the past, present, and future sit at the same table. And whether you're a nature lover, a history buff, a gamer, or a spiritual seeker, Japan has a corner waiting just for you. Everyone's heard of Mount Fuji, Kyoto temples, and Shibuya Crossing. But what if we told you that some of Japan's most unforgettable wonders aren't in guidebooks, they're in places you've probably never heard of? Welcome to Unseen Japan, where ancient traditions, surreal sights, and beautiful oddities await just off the tourist trail. Let's begin in the wild heart of Shikoku, the remote, misty Aya Valley. Hidden deep in the mountains, this region is famous for its vine bridges, once used by samurai to escape enemies. These bridges still sway over plunging gorges today, a thrilling, slightly terrifying walk into a world untouched by time. Few foreigners make it here. And maybe that's what keeps its magic alive. Then there's Shirakawa-go, a village where every house looks like it was plucked from a storybook. Nestled in snow-covered valleys, these traditional thatched roof homes, called gasozakuri, have stood for centuries, designed to withstand harsh alpine winters. In the right season, the whole town glows under lantern light like a living snow globe. Now, for something truly peculiar, Okinoshima, better known as Rabbit Island. Yes, you heard that right, an entire island where hundreds of friendly rabbits roam free, hopping into your lap and posing for photos. But behind the fluff is a darker past. The island was once home to a secret World War II chemical weapons facility. Today, it's a peaceful and wildly popular destination where history and cuteness collide. Speaking of weird and wonderful, Japan has a reputation for its vending machines, and it's well-earned. There are over 4 million of them, one for about every 30 people, and they don't just sell drinks. Think hot corn soup, umbrellas, toys, fresh eggs, neckties. Even full meals. And if that doesn't surprise you, maybe this will: capsule hotels. These futuristic sleeping pods, stacked side by side like human-sized drawers, offer a budget-friendly way to sleep in space-age style. Inside a bed, a TV, and surprisingly, peace. Now let's talk about love hotels. Often misunderstood, these are short-stay accommodations designed for privacy, but many have become themed architectural wonders. Think Hello Kitty suites, spaceship rooms, or castles, part kitsch, part curiosity, all uniquely Japanese. And perhaps the most haunting of all, Nagoro, the village of dolls. Deep in the mountains, this once thriving town faced population decline. So one artist, Tsukimi Ayano, began replacing departed villagers with life-sized handmade dolls, sitting at bus stops, working in fields, watching from classrooms. Today, over 350 dolls live there, outnumbering humans by more than 10 to 1. It's eerie, poignant, and strangely beautiful. These places remind us that Japan isn't just polished cities and curated temples. It's full of hidden stories, strange corners, and quiet moments that don't scream for attention, they whisper. And for the traveler who dares to wander beyond the famous spots, Japan reveals its most unforgettable secrets. Japan were a painting, it would change every season, with bold new colors, shifting textures, and a rhythm guided by nature itself. This is a country that truly celebrates all 4 seasons, not just as climate, but as culture. And in each, Japan reveals a different version of itself. Spring is the most famous, and rightfully so. Cherry blossom season, or sakura, is nothing short of magical. For a few fleeting weeks, parks, riversides, and city streets blush with soft pink petals. Families picnic under the blooms in a custom called hanami, drinking sake and watching the petals fall like snow. It's delicate, joyful, and deeply symbolic of life's impermanence. Then comes summer, hot, vibrant, and full of festivals. Fireworks light up the night sky. Lanterns float down rivers, and in the southern islands of Okinawa, summer feels like a tropical dream. Here you'll find white sand beaches, coral reefs, and turquoise waters that rival any Caribbean postcard, all just a short flight from Tokyo. As the heat fades, autumn arrives like poetry. Mountains burn with brilliant reds, oranges, and golds, a phenomenon called koyo, which draws nature lovers from around the world. Kyoto's temple gardens, Nikko's mountain trails, even Tokyo's city parks, all transform into canvases of fire and elegance. And then, there's wintertime in the Japanese Alps. Snow falls thick and soft, blanketing entire villages in silence. In Nagano, you'll find one of Japan's most surreal sights. Snow monkeys soaking in natural hot springs, their red faces steaming, completely unfazed by the cold. It's wild, peaceful, and oddly human. Nature here isn't just beautiful, it's spiritual. Take the bamboo forests of Arashiyama in Kyoto, towering green stalks swaying in silence, creating a living cathedral that humbles every visitor. Or the countless volcanoes like Sakurajima in the south, still breathing smoke, a reminder of the raw power beneath Japan's calm surface. And beyond the tourist trails lie rural escapes that feel like stepping back in time. Rice paddies reflecting mountain skies. Wooden farmhouses with thatched roofs. Morning mists curling over cedar forests. Here, time slows down, life becomes simple, and every breath feels deeper. In Japan, nature isn't a background, it's the main character. It's in the food, the festivals, the philosophy. And for the traveler willing to look beyond the cities, Japan's natural world offers something rare: peace, awe, and the chance to feel small. In the best possible way. To truly understand Japan, you have to step into the shoes of its people, to wake up when they do, navigate their daily routines, and feel the silent rhythm of their lives. So let's begin with a typical Japanese morning. In most cities, the day starts early, often before sunrise. The streets are quiet, trains are already running, and there's a certain peaceful efficiency in the air. Breakfast is often light: a bowl of rice, miso soup, grilled fish, maybe a rolled omelet. And then, without chaos or rush, people begin to move. If you're in Tokyo, you'll see it on the platforms. Lines of neatly dressed commuters in dark suits, eyes focused, bags in hand. No pushing, no shouting, just silent flow. It's part of Japan's deep-rooted work ethic, a cultural expectation known as gambaru, to persevere, to give your best, no matter the task. This life is serious, long hours are common. Respect for hierarchy is paramount. You'll rarely hear someone call their boss by name, titles matter here. Yet even in this formality, there's a quiet camaraderie, seen in group lunches, after-work drinks at izakayas, and the almost sacred act of sharing snacks from vacations with coworkers. But beyond the neon of the cities lies a different pace entirely. In the countryside, life feels like it runs on another clock. Farmers rise with the sun, school children walk or cycle along rice paddies, and neighbors exchange vegetables from their gardens. There's still structure and routine, but also space to breathe. People greet each other with deep bows. Trains might be few and far between, but so is stress. Contrast between urban hustle and rural calm is one of Japan's most striking features. And yet in both you'll find the same core: discipline, dignity, and a deep awareness of others. That awareness shows up everywhere, in the social norms that define daily life. Don't talk loudly on public transport. Always remove your shoes indoors. Keep to the left on escalators. These rules aren't enforced by signs, they're upheld by culture. Even school life reflects this sense of order and community. Japanese students wear uniforms. They clean their own classrooms. Lunch is served and eaten together. And from a young age, they're taught not just academic subjects, but how to function as part of a group. That's why you'll often see perfectly synchronized lines of children crossing streets, or whole classes on public outings without a hint of chaos. But perhaps the most remarkable thing about a day in Japan is the quiet dignity of it all. There's no need to perform, no rush to stand out. People simply do what needs to be done, with care, with respect, and with an unspoken pride in their role, no matter how small. And when you're here, even for a few days, something strange happens. You start to walk a little slower, speak a little softer, notice a little more. Because in Japan, the extraordinary isn't always loud. Often, it's in the calm, quiet rhythm of ordinary life. Japan's economy is like its trains, sleek, efficient, and engineered to perform. But look closer, and you'll see a country balancing tradition and transformation in the most fascinating ways. For decades, Japan has been home to some of the world's most iconic brands, economic engines that powered its rise from post-war ruin to global superpower. Toyota, a name now synonymous with reliability, began in a small weaving factory. Today, it's one of the largest automakers on Earth. Then there's Nintendo, born in Kyoto as a humble playing card company, now a global giant shaping generations of childhood through Mario, Zelda, and Pokémon. From Sony's electronics to Panasonic's innovation, Mitsubishi's reach to Canon's optics, Japan became a country where quality wasn't just expected. It was a brand in itself. But behind the global success story, Japan faces a quiet economic challenge. Its population is shrinking and aging rapidly. With one of the highest life expectancies in the world and one of the lowest birth rates, the country is navigating a demographic curve few nations have ever faced. Rural towns are losing residents. Job vacancies go unfilled, entire schools close down not for summer but for good. Yet true to form, Japan isn't panicking, it's innovating. Walk into a convenience store in Tokyo and you might be greeted by a robot. Order a coffee, a machine prepares it with perfect precision. From factory automation to AI-driven customer service, Japan is quietly rewriting the future of labor, not as a choice but as a necessity. At the same time, a cultural shift is brewing. Younger generations are rethinking the old salaryman lifestyle, the long hours, the rigid suits, the life spent behind an office desk. Today's Japanese youth are more likely to explore side hustles, freelance gigs, and even digital nomadism, a trend once unthinkable in a culture of lifetime employment. And then there's vending machine capitalism, uniquely Japanese and surprisingly profitable. With over 4 million vending machines across the country, they generate billions in revenue, selling everything from drinks and snacks to umbrellas, batteries, and even fresh eggs. It's low overhead entrepreneurship at its finest, and it works. But the urban centers tell only half the story. In rural Japan, economic decline is visible. Villages are aging, farms are abandoned, and younger residents often move to cities in search of opportunity. Some towns now offer free homes or incentives to attract new residents, creative solutions to revive what's slowly fading. Till through every twist, Japan remains remarkably stable. Its living standards are high. Public transportation is world-class. Streets are clean, healthcare is accessible. Poverty exists, but you rarely see it on the surface. The economy may be evolving, but it still runs on precision, pride, and quiet resilience. And perhaps that's the most Japanese thing of all. Even when facing decline, Japan reinvents with grace. Not loudly, not urgently, but steadily and beautifully. How expensive is Japan, really? You've probably heard mixed things, that Tokyo is one of the priciest cities in the world, or that you can survive on noodles for under $5. Truth, both are true depending on how you travel or live. Let's start with housing. In central Tokyo, renting a small studio apartment can cost anywhere from $800 to $1,500 per month, depending on proximity to train stations. That may sound steep, but the trade-off is location, safety, and efficiency. Everything works. Everything's clean. And everything's close. Now head to the countryside, and it's a different story. In rural towns, especially those facing depopulation, you can find entire houses for $300 a month or less, or even for free under special relocation programs. Of course, the trade-off here is fewer job options and limited public transport, but the peace and space? Priceless. As a traveler, your budget will depend on your style. A meal at a casual noodle shop or conveyor belt sushi bar can cost $5, $10. Fancy a Michelin-starred experience? Japan has more of them than any country in the world, and some set menus start as low as $60. Surprisingly accessible for world-class dining. Transportation is where costs can add up, but also where Japan offers amazing value. A Tokyo Metro Day Pass is around $7, unlocking one of the world's most reliable and expansive subway networks. Trains arrive on time, down to the second, and there's no tipping required ever. If you're traveling between cities, the Japan Rail Pass is a game changer. For roughly $275 for 7 days of unlimited travel, you can zip across the country on the legendary Shinkansen bullet trains, a deal that beats almost any flight or long-distance travel cost elsewhere. Accommodation, there's something for every budget. A standard hotel in Tokyo will run you around $80, $150 per night. A stay at a traditional ryokan, with tatami mats, sliding paper doors, and an onsen bath, can range from $120 to $400 per night, but often includes 2 exquisite meals. And for the ultra-budget conscious? Capsule hotels for as little as $25, $35 per night, futuristic, clean, and strangely cozy. But perhaps the best-kept secret in Japanese travel economics is 7-Eleven. Yes, seriously, Japanese convenience stores 7-Eleven, Lawson, Family Mart are a traveler's paradise. Fresh meals, hot coffee, ATMs that work with international cards, even Wi-Fi. For under $6, you can get a full bento box, a drink, and dessert, and it'll taste better than many restaurant meals elsewhere. So, is Japan expensive? It can be. But it also offers some of the best value-for-quality experiences anywhere on Earth. Whether you're on a backpacker's budget or planning a luxury escape, Japan has a way of giving you more than you paid for in taste and comfort and memories. And sometimes the most unforgettable parts. Cost nothing at all. When you think of Japan's global reputation, certain words come up again and again: precise, clean, safe, efficient. But these aren't just cultural traits, they're the result of deep investments in education, healthcare, and infrastructure that shape every part of Japanese life. Let's start with education, one of Japan's proudest pillars. From a young age, students are taught not just what to learn, but how to live. Schools emphasize punctuality, respect, group harmony, and responsibility. In fact, there are no janitors in most schools. Students clean their own classrooms. It's not punishment, it's character building. Japanese students consistently rank among the world's best in math, reading, and science. But beyond academics, the system also instills discipline, uniforms, morning greetings, chore rotations, and even lunchtime routines where students serve each other. Every detail reinforces one message: we're in this together. Higher education is competitive, with university entrance exams so intense, they've been called the test of your life. Yet despite the pressure, many Japanese youth are now balancing tradition with new priorities: global study, creative careers, and flexible learning paths. Now, what happens when you get sick in Japan? Thanks to universal healthcare, the answer is, you're taken care of. Japan operates a co-pay model where the government covers about 70% of your medical costs. Visits to the doctor are affordable. Medication is accessible and the quality world-class. Hospitals are clean, modern, and remarkably efficient, often with little wait time. You can walk into a pharmacy or clinic and be out in under 30 minutes, a sharp contrast to systems in the US or UK, where healthcare can be either prohibitively expensive or bogged down by waiting lists. But perhaps where Japan shines brightest is in its infrastructure. Let's talk trains. The Shinkansen or bullet train isn't just fast, it's almost poetic. Trains glide at 200+ miles per hour, yet arrive so smoothly and silently that you barely feel motion. Departures are on time to the second, literally. If a train is delayed by more than a minute, conductors apologize publicly. Even local trains and subways are immaculately maintained, with clear signage, quiet cars, and no food wrappers in sight. And in smaller towns, buses run on time, bike lanes are respected. Roads are spotless. Japan is also a pioneer in smart city design. Touchless payments, AI-powered convenience stores, and toilets with more functions than some smartphones, all standard. Even the public bathrooms are clean, well-lit, and fully stocked. And beneath the surface lies a strong social safety net, from elder care services for its aging population to natural disaster preparedness systems that alert citizens instantly via phone, TV, and loudspeakers. So whether you're riding a train through the mountains, sending your child to school, or visiting a clinic for a cold, you'll notice something. Japan values systems that work, not just for today, but for generations. It's a country where infrastructure isn't just about efficiency, it's about dignity. Where every citizen, young or old, is part of a society built on trust, reliability, and shared responsibility. And in a world growing more chaotic, that's not just impressive, it's quietly revolutionary. Culture is best tasted, then Japan is a masterpiece served on a plate. This is a country where food is not just a necessity, it's a philosophy. Every dish, whether humble or haute cuisine, is crafted with precision, pride, and an almost artistic attention to detail. Let's start with the classics. First, sushi, but not the supermarket version you might find in the West. In Japan, sushi is an expression of balance between rice, fish, temperature, and time. Whether it's a conveyor belt sushi bar for $10 or a quiet omakase counter where the chef chooses your bites, each piece is a moment of stillness and flavor. Then comes ramen, the soul food of the salaryman and the traveler alike. Every region has its style. Rich and creamy tonkatsu from Fukuoka, soy-based shoyu from Tokyo, or miso-packed bowls in Sapporo. And yes, in Japan, slurping is encouraged. It's not rude, it's a compliment, a sign that you're enjoying the noodles exactly as they should be. Craving something fun and fiery? Try takoyaki, octopus-filled dough balls, crisp outside, molten inside, and topped with sweet savory sauce, seaweed flakes, and dancing bonito. They're best eaten fresh off the sizzling grills of Osaka street markets, where the heat and aroma add to the thrill. And then there's matcha, not just a tea but an obsession. You'll find it in everything: lattes, cakes, ice cream, soba noodles, and even beer. Earthy, bitter, slightly sweet, it's a flavor that feels deeply Japanese. But Japan's culinary magic doesn't end with traditional dishes. It continues in the most unexpected places. Take convenience stores or konbini. 7-Eleven, Family Mart, Lawson, these aren't just corner shops. They're national treasures. Inside you'll find gourmet-level bentos, onigiri rice balls, carriage chicken, seasonal desserts, all fresh, affordable, and ready within minutes. It's a travel hack that seasoned visitors swear by. Now flip the coin from budget bites to fine dining. Did you know Japan has more Michelin-starred restaurants than any country on Earth? But here's the twist, not all are high-end. Some are tiny ramen joints or tempura stalls with only a few seats, tucked away in quiet alleys. Street food with a star, and it says everything about how Japan honors craftsmanship, no matter the price point. For those who want to eat like the locals, look no further than izakayas, cozy pubs where beer flows, laughter fills the air, and menus are filled with shareable plates. Grilled skewers, sashimi, edamame, pickles, and fried delights you can't pronounce but instantly love. Noisy, smoky, friendly, they're where the city unwinds after dark. Visit a local market like Tokyo's Tsukiji Outer Market or Kyoto's Nishiki, and you'll see it all in motion: chefs shopping for the freshest fish, street vendors hawking steaming bowls of oden, and tourists sampling wasabi peanuts or tamagoyaki on a stick. Everywhere you turn, Japan serves up contrast: centuries-old recipes alongside futuristic food innovations. Meals eaten in silence and others shouted over beer. High-end sushi counters and vending machines selling hot soup. But at the heart of it all is the same unshakable truth: food in Japan is never careless. It's crafted, respected, shared. So come hungry, come curious. Because in Japan, every bite is a story, and you're invited to taste them all. In Japan, time doesn't just pass, it blooms, dances, and explodes into color. This is a country where the calendar isn't just marked by dates, but by experiences, and the celebrations here are unlike anywhere else on Earth. Let's begin with the most iconic of all: cherry blossom season, or sakura. Every spring, millions of cherry trees burst into delicate pink, turning parks, riverbanks, and temple gardens into living paintings. But this isn't just about beauty. It's a moment of pause. Families gather for hanami or flower viewing picnics. Strangers share sake beneath the blossoms. And everywhere there's a gentle reminder: life is fleeting, so treasure this moment. Then comes Gion Matsuri in Kyoto, a tradition that's lasted for over 1,000 years. For the entire month of July, the city comes alive with parades of towering wooden floats, pulled through narrow streets by teams in traditional robes. There are rituals, music, food stalls, and an energy that feels both ancient and electric. In early July, many towns celebrate Tanabata, or the Star Festival, based on a myth of star-crossed lovers meeting once a year in the sky. People write wishes on colorful paper strips and tie them to bamboo branches, creating entire streets filled with dreams fluttering in the summer breeze. But Japan's cultural calendar isn't just about the poetic. It's also full of spectacle. Enter the world of sumo wrestling, not just a sport but a spiritual ritual. 6 grand tournaments are held throughout the year, and they're more than just matches, they're pageants of strength, tradition, and ceremony. The wrestlers train with discipline most athletes can't imagine, and the pre-match rituals, salt throwing, stomping, bowing, are just as fascinating as the bouts themselves. And when summer reaches its peak, Japan lights up the night with Hanabi Taikai, fireworks festivals that turn riversides and skies into glittering cascades of color. It's not just about the fireworks, it's about the yukata, the shaved ice, the laughter, and the shared warmth of a million eyes looking skyward. What's truly magical about Japanese festivals is how they seamlessly blend the traditional and the modern. In one moment, you might watch an ancient kagura dance meant to please the gods. In the next, you'll be snapping selfies next to anime-themed parade floats or food trucks serving rainbow cheese toast. It's all part of the same celebration, past and present dancing side by side. Even in cities like Tokyo and Osaka, which pulse with modern life, these festivals offer moments of stillness, memory, and identity. They remind you that beneath all the speed and screens, Japan still moves to an ancient rhythm. So if you're planning a visit, time it with a festival. 'Cause when Japan celebrates, it doesn't just entertain, it invites you into its soul. Let's get one thing straight: Japan is one of the safest countries in the world. And that's not travel blog hype, it's backed by data and, more importantly, felt the moment you arrive. Imagine this: a child takes the Tokyo subway alone. A woman walks through a quiet alley at midnight without glancing over her shoulder. A lost wallet is turned in, still full, still untouched, waiting at the nearest police box or koben. In Japan, safety isn't a luxury. It's a default. Violent crime is rare, public transport is clean and secure. Even in crowded festivals or major cities, there's a sense of calm and mutual respect that feels almost surreal to visitors from the US or UK. But that safety isn't just about rules, it's about etiquette. Because in Japan, how you behave matters just as much as where you go. Start with bowing, a simple gesture that carries deep meaning. Whether greeting, thanking, apologizing, or saying goodbye, a bow expresses humility and respect. It's not about perfection, it's about intention. A slight nod goes a long way. Then there's the shoes off rule, a big one. Entering someone's home, take them off. at many hotels, temples, or even restaurants. Same rule. Sometimes you'll be offered indoor slippers, but never wear those into the bathroom. And speaking of bathrooms, get ready for a bit of culture shock. Japanese toilets are technological marvels with seat warmers, spray settings, sound effects, and more buttons than a remote control. It may take a moment to learn, but once you do, you'll never look at a Western toilet the same way again. When using public transportation, keep this in mind. Silence is golden, phone calls are discouraged, loud conversations are frowned upon, and eating is only acceptable on long-distance trains. Respect the quiet and you'll fit right in. But even in a place this thoughtful, there are a few common mistakes tourists make, and they're easy to avoid. Pointing is considered rude. Use your whole hand, palm up, to gesture. Tipping is not expected, and sometimes even refused. Good service is already included. Blowing your nose in public, considered bad manners. Excuse yourself if you need to. Chopsticks have their own rules. Don't stick them upright in rice, don't pass food from chopstick to chopstick, and avoid using them to point. And one more tip, cash is still king. While Japan is high-tech, many shops and restaurants still prefer cash, especially outside big cities. Be sure to carry yen and use ATMs at convenience stores, which are foreign card-friendly. So yes, Japan is safe, but it's also sensitive. Not in a way that restricts you, but in a way that gently invites you to slow down, observe, and respect the unspoken harmony of the culture. Because when you travel here with care and curiosity, Japan opens up to you not just as a destination, but as a host. For all its beauty, precision, and order, Japan is not without its struggles. Beneath the surface of its world-class trains and glowing temples lies a society grappling with quiet, complex challenges. One of the most pressing is work culture. Japan is often admired for its discipline and dedication to work, but the flip side is overwork, or karoshi, a word that literally means death by overwork. Long hours, unpaid overtime, and the pressure to appear endlessly productive have taken a toll on mental and physical health, particularly among office workers. Alongside this is a growing issue of loneliness, especially among men, the elderly, and even young adults in cities. The rise of hikikomori, people who withdraw entirely from society, sometimes for years, is a uniquely Japanese phenomenon. In response, new solutions are emerging: rent-a-friend services, cuddle cafes, even AI-powered companionship. Comforting perhaps, but also a reflection of deeper isolation in a hyper-functional society. And then there's the demographic time bomb. Japan's population is shrinking and aging faster than almost any other nation. Nearly 30% of the population is over the age of 65. Schools are closing, rural towns are vanishing, and hospitals are struggling to keep up with geriatric care. At the same time, birth rates remain alarmingly low, driven by economic insecurity, changing social values, and demanding work-life balance. The question is no longer if Japan must adapt, but how fast it can. Gender roles are also under scrutiny. While Japan is safe, clean, and technologically advanced, it still ranks low in global gender equality reports. Traditional expectations often keep women out of leadership roles, and returning to work after childbirth remains a major hurdle. But a new generation is pushing back, and slowly the tide is beginning to shift. On the environmental front, Japan faces both natural threats and modern sustainability challenges. As part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, Japan experiences frequent earthquakes and tsunamis. From the devastating 2011 Tohoku disaster to near-daily tremors, resilience is not just a trait, it's a necessity. Buildings are designed to flex and absorb shock. Emergency kits are common in households. And yet, the emotional scars run deep, particularly in communities that are still rebuilding. Beyond natural disasters, climate change and energy use remain major concerns. Japan has relied heavily on imported fossil fuels since the Fukushima nuclear accident, and while it's investing in renewables and green tech, it still struggles to balance energy demands with environmental responsibility. And then there's the waste issue. Japan is incredibly clean, but also one of the largest consumers of single-use plastic. From individually wrapped bananas to overpackaged snacks, convenience often outweighs sustainability. The recycling system is complex and widely followed, but reducing waste remains a national challenge. So why talk about this in a travel documentary? Because to truly know a country, you have to see all sides. And Japan's challenges are not failures, they're growing pains in a country that values harmony but is learning to embrace change. And if history has taught us anything about Japan, it's this: when faced with adversity, it doesn't collapse. It evolves. For many outsiders, Japan feels like another planet, a place of ultra-futuristic tech, extreme politeness, and quirky inventions. But how much of that is real, and how much is just a carefully polished myth? Let's start with the big one. Is Japan as futuristic as people think? Well, yes and no. This is a country where you'll find robot receptionists, toilets with more buttons than your smartphone, and vending machines that can sense your mood. Bullet trains glide at over 200 miles per hour. Cities like Tokyo feel like sci-fi dreamscapes, glowing, buzzing, alive. But then you'll try to open a bank account and be asked to fax your documents. Or you'll struggle to pay with a credit card at a small shop that only accepts cash. Even in 2025, paperwork is king, and many government systems still run on aging technology. Japan may look like the future, but behind the neon, it often runs on the past. Another common misconception: everyone in Japan is polite. Technically true, but not in the way you might expect. Politeness here is cultural, not always emotional. You'll get plenty of bows, respectful greetings, and quiet cues, but that doesn't mean people are eager to chat. In fact, Japan has a deep respect for privacy and personal space. Striking up small talk with a stranger on the train? Unusual. Inviting someone home for dinner? Rare, even among locals. It's not coldness, it's courtesy. A cultural paradox where people may never raise their voices, yet also never ask how your day was. Reserved but kind, distant but thoughtful. Now for some of the surprising facts that make Japan wonderfully weird. Ever heard of train pushers? In rush hour Tokyo, uniformed station staff literally push people into trains so the doors can close. It's efficient and shockingly civil. Tipping is not just unnecessary, it can be awkward. Excellent service is considered part of the job, not something to be rewarded with cash. Try to leave money on the table, and it might be returned with a confused smile. Japan's produce game on another level. You'll find perfectly shaped fruits sold in luxury stores, including square watermelons grown in boxes, not for eating but as expensive novelty gifts. Speaking of food, there are entire restaurants run by robots, cafes where you're served by people in full anime cosplay, and vending machines that dispense everything from hot noodles to fresh bouquets. Need to nap in public? Totally normal. In fact, it's called inamuri, and it's not laziness but a sign of dedication. Falling asleep at your desk means you worked hard enough to need a break. And here's a twist: Japan, often seen as conservative, is also a global hub for avant-garde fashion, surreal art, and experimental design. Step into Harajuku and you might see a teenager dressed as a Victorian doll, right next to a Buddhist monk. In Japan, contradictions aren't flaws, they're features. Futuristic yet traditional, outrageous yet reserved. Place where ancient customs sit next to vending machines and people follow rules so tightly they find freedom inside them. So next time someone says Japan is so polite or Japan is like the future, you'll know the truth is more nuanced and far more fascinating. Planning a trip to Japan, trust us, a little preparation goes a long way. Because while Japan is one of the most welcoming, efficient, and rewarding countries to explore, it's also full of unspoken rules and logistical quirks that first-time visitors might not expect. Let's start with transportation, the backbone of any Japan adventure. First tip: if you're traveling between cities, get the Japan Rail Pass. This special pass, available only to tourists, grants unlimited travel on most JR trains, including many Shinkansen bullet trains. It's fast, flexible, and can save you hundreds of dollars. Just be sure to purchase it before arriving in Japan, or at least understand the new online registration process. Recent updates mean it's not quite as simple as it once was. For navigating within cities, your best friends are the Suica and Pasmo cards, rechargeable smart cards that work across metro lines, buses, vending machines, and even convenience stores. Load them up once, tap and go. No need to fumble with paper tickets or count coins. Now, how about staying connected? Free Wi-Fi is common in cafes, train stations, and hotels, but not always reliable. If you're someone who needs Google Maps, translation apps, or social posting on the go, consider a prepaid SIM card or a portable Wi-Fi router, both available at airports or major electronics stores. But connectivity isn't just about tech, it's also about language. While major signs and transport announcements are available in English, most locals don't speak English fluently, especially outside tourist zones. That said, they're incredibly helpful. A few basic Japanese phrases can go a long way. Sumimasen equals excuse me, I'm sorry, arigato gozaimasu equals thank you, aigo ohanasemasuka equals do you speak English? Even better, download an offline translation app like Google Translate and use the photo scan feature for menus and signs. Magic. Let's talk money. Japan may seem like a tech paradise, but surprisingly, it's still a cash-centric country. Many restaurants, shops, and small businesses, even in Tokyo, don't accept credit cards. ATMs at 7-Eleven, Family Mart, and post offices are foreign card-friendly, so keep some yen on hand at all times. As for daily expenses, you can travel comfortably on a budget or splurge like royalty. But always check ahead for things like cover charges at bars, and note that tipping is not customary. Great service is the standard, not the exception. And finally, a few public transport do's and don'ts. Do queue in designated lines, especially for trains and buses. Don't talk loudly or take phone calls while commuting. Silence is golden. Do give up your seat for the elderly, pregnant, or disabled. Don't eat or drink on local trains, but it's fine on long-distance ones like the Shinkansen. And always be punctual. Trains leave on time every time. Don't be late. Traveling in Japan is smooth, but it rewards those who respect the details. So prep your tech, grab your Suica, keep some yen in your pocket, and above all, stay curious. Because when you travel Japan the right way, it rewards you with memories that last a lifetime. So you've fallen for Japan, the calm, the chaos, the culture, the charm. And now you're wondering, could I actually live here? The answer is yes, but with a few important caveats. Let's begin with the good news. Foreigners can live comfortably in Japan, and many do. Whether you're an English teacher, digital nomad, engineer, or retiree, there's a growing international community in cities like Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, and Fukuoka. Major hubs are well equipped with English-speaking clinics, international schools, foreigner-friendly real estate agents, and global food stores. Public services are efficient. Transportation is flawless, safety among the best in the world. But it's not always easy. First big challenge, the language barrier. While Japan is modern and globally connected, the average resident doesn't speak English fluently, and many bureaucratic processes like setting up a bank account, signing a lease, or registering at City Hall are still done entirely in Japanese. That's why many expats learn basic Japanese out of necessity, not just curiosity. Even a little effort learning hiragana, greetings, key phrases can unlock smoother day-to-day life and show locals that you respect their culture. Next hurdle, housing. Renting an apartment in Japan isn't just about picking a place and moving in. You'll often need to deal with key money guarantors, agency fees, cleaning fees, and sometimes even renewal fees. Many landlords also prefer Japanese tenants, so it's critical to work with real estate agents who specialize in helping foreigners. The good news, there are now English-friendly agencies in most big cities that can guide you through the entire process. Now let's talk visas. There are several visa options depending on your goal. Work visa, most common for teachers, engineers, researchers, and skilled professionals. Student visa, for attending language schools or universities. Spouse visa, if you're married to a Japanese citizen. Highly skilled professional visa, offers faster residency pathways. Startup and business visas, available in some prefectures for entrepreneurs. And once you've lived in Japan long enough, usually 10 years or 5 years under certain skilled visa categories, you can apply for permanent residency. So what's life really like as an expat? Pros: world-class public transport, safe, clean, and organized cities, incredible food and nature, deep cultural richness, stable healthcare and infrastructure. Cons: Language and cultural barriers, rigid bureaucracy, limited diversity in some areas, social isolation, work-life imbalance in some industries. Some foreigners thrive in Japan, embracing its structure and peace. Others feel like outsiders in a system that rarely bends. Your experience will depend largely on where you live, what you do, and how willing you are to adapt. But for those who approach Japan with humility, curiosity, and patience, life here can be incredibly rewarding, a chance to live in a society that values beauty, order, and quiet excellence. So if you've ever dreamed of calling Japan home, it's not impossible, it's just intentional. By now, you've seen it all, or at least glimpsed it. From ancient temples glowing under cherry blossoms to neon-lit alleys pulsing with life. From bullet trains that blur through the countryside to villages where dolls outnumber people. From the quiet discipline of morning routines to the joyous chaos of summer fireworks. This is Japan, a land of beauty, contrasts, and quiet strength. But here's the thing about Japan, you don't just visit it. It stays with you. Maybe it's the way strangers bow in silent gratitude. Or the feeling of standing under a torii gate as the wind shifts. Or the simple comfort of sipping matcha in a 300-year-old tea house while the modern world rushes past outside. Japan isn't loud about its greatness. It doesn't demand your attention. It invites it patiently, elegantly, and with depth. It's a place that teaches you to slow down. To observe more, speak less. To find joy in a well-wrapped package, a perfectly placed stone, a meal made with intention. And perhaps that's why travelers from around the world, especially from places like the US and UK, fall in love with it. Because Japan offers something rare in our modern world: clarity. So whether you're dreaming of your first trip or planning your fifth, whether you're drawn by its shrines or its street food, its high-tech pulse or timeless serenity, know this: Japan will surprise you, challenge you, and almost certainly change you. Did this journey inspire your next adventure? Then help us keep exploring, one story, one country, one wonder at a time. Like this video, comment your favorite part about Japan, and subscribe for more travel stories every single week. 'Cause the world is full of wonders, and this channel is your front row seat.